Hi, I'm Eric. I'm the owner of Southwestern Microsystems. Today I'm going to walk you through in this short video on how to install our brand new universal speaker amplifier system. This is our equivalent of a 70 volt commercial audio distribution system, but it's a little different. It doesn't use any 70 volt transformers. Our system is very similar to the old Valcom system with one major exception. Our system, you can use any 4 or 8 ohm speaker, and I'll give you a demonstration here of that in just a minute. The other major difference is that we are using a state-of-the-art, what is known as Class D audio technology. This allows us to have maximum audio performance with essentially zero loss in efficiency due to heat. So, without any further ado, let me go ahead and get started with the install. Please bear with me, I'm also acting as the camera guy for this video. So our system consists of really two main pieces of hardware. The base unit, this item in black that you see right in front of you, and then the actual speaker amplifiers, which are these little blocks. They're about 1.5 inches wide, tall I should say, by about 1 inch long, or excuse me, vice versa. They're about 1 inch tall and about 1.5 inches long. They are mounted inside of a very industrialized aluminum case, and as you see, the wires coming out do separate functions, and we'll get into that in a minute. But let's first talk about the base unit. The base unit, as you can see, this is our single channel version. It has a power switch on the front, a channel 1 input, and a channel 1 master volume. The channel 1 input is actually our proprietary circuitry that we use that helps you set up what the most optimum input audio level is. You'll see there's a little hard to see here, but below the channel input there's a little green LED. And as you rotate that knob from min to max, that LED will change in a flash rate. Ideally, when you're setting this up on your system, you want that LED to illuminate only on major bass drum hits. So like a boom, boom, boom. Any more than that, you're overdriving it. Any less than that, you're underdriving it. So you use that. You'll usually only set this up once, and it will vary from song to song. But for the most part, it will serve as the input directive to know how much level you're putting into it. So you don't overdrive the music and it sounds muddy or distorted, or you underdrive it and there's not enough audio level for the system to operate. The other knob, the channel volume knob, is the master volume control, and it actually regulates the amount of audio that is sent to each one of these little amplifiers that are scattered throughout the building. So this does allow you to have some level of control over the system. Now, on the back of the device, it's very simple. We don't have a whole lot of switches or knobs or buttons or dip switches that you have to set up. We tend to keep it very simple. And on the back of our device we have a 24 volt power input, a standard screw terminal type connection. I'll get into that in just a minute of what the connections are. And then a RCA jack input. And it doesn't matter whether you have a monaural input, like on a commercial audio system, or you're using a stereo input like you'd have on an iPod or an FM radio or something like that. All commercial music is essentially a monaural system. That means that the left and right channels of audio are combined into one feed. So we do that for you inside the electronics in this unit. So all you have to do is, if you have a stereo, you use 2 jacks. If you're using a monaural feed like you'd get from a licensed supplier like a Muzak or DMX or a Mood Music or somebody like that, in that application you'd use the bottom red jack as a monaural in. Now, as far as the installation tools, as you can see here, I got a small flat blade screwdriver and a wire stripper. That's really all you need for this system. The wire stripper can be used to cut the lengths of wire as you need. The wire that we recommend here again is at least a 16/4 conductor. For demonstration purposes, this over here is actually 18/4. I just use it because that's what I had in around the shop. But we do recommend for the install of your main system to use a 16/4. As far as the connections go, we have two different types of connectors. It really depends on your desire. I ship the system with the standard orange wire nut. I find wire nuts handy because if you need to ever do any repair, you can simply loosen them and take them apart, and for the most part, you know, everything is wired together with wire nuts anymore, so we're good to go. As far as the little crimp hats, you're more than welcome to use those too. Some installers prefer those. As far as I'm concerned, they're a pain in the butt to take apart if you have to ever fix the system. So I prefer orange wire nuts. Some people prefer orange the clear hats. Use whatever you feel most comfortable with. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the wiring of this system. So give me a few minutes and I'll come back and we'll continue this video. Okay, welcome back. Now I've went ahead and wired up the system at least through one amplifier. So as it stands from the base unit, let's first talk about that connector. That connector is removable on the back. It's one of those Phoenix type connectors. It's a pluggable, what they call a pluggable header. So we can take it out to make it easier to assemble. So as you can see, the color order of the wires are such: red, black, white, and green. Red is always used in this system to supply the 24 volt DC power around to the amplifiers. Yes, the amplifiers must have 24 volt DC, otherwise they are not going to work. The black wire is the power ground. That is the wire that will be used to return basically complete the circuit on the 24 volt supply. Audio plus and audio minus are the feed wires to ship the audio signal around. Audio plus in this case is white, and audio minus or audio ground is green. And as you can see here, I've basically wired those up. It's a screw type connection. I stripped those wires about 1/4 of an inch and just strictly put them in there, and then I used the little screws on top to tighten them down. And then I just simply shoved the connector back into the box, and it connects up real nicely. So if you ever have to remove it to fix the box or something goes wrong, you can always disconnect that cable, and you don't have to unwire everything. So if we follow this cable over, now this cable is obviously about 18 inches long. It's obviously way too short for a standard audio system, but I didn't see the need to run 25 foot of cable for demonstration purposes. So with regards to the colors, you match the colors. Black to black to black, red to red, green to green. So what I have here is I've basically daisy chained the amplifier into the feed wire. This is the master cable coming from the base unit. Here we go again, around in. So the black, the red, and the green wires will always match the black, the red, and the green wires coming off the amplifier. As you can see here in the label, 24 volts is red, power ground is black, audio ground is green. Now, with regards to the white wire, which is the audio plus, on the amplifier there are 3 different power options. Basically a 5 watt or high power, a 2 watt medium power, or 1 watt low power audio option. These audio options are very similar to what you'd see on a 70 volt transformer. A lot of times they have more taps than we do, but for this application we figured 1, 2, and 5 was about, those are the most common taps ever used in commercial audio. In this case, and I should add that you can mix amplifier taps. So let's say if you have a big room where you tap every speaker at 5 watts and then you go into the bathroom, you can easily set that up for 1 watt tap. And unlike a 70 volt system where you got to keep track of the wattage, this system you do not. All you have to keep track of is that the system will power up to 25 amplifiers tapped at the 5 watt setting. It doesn't matter whether they're 2 watts or 1 watt. It's the way the power curve works. You can use a maximum of 25. Now we do have extenders available, and not shown here, that can extend the system out indefinitely. But so when you're tapping for your power feed, you only pick one of those 3 wires. If you're using the 5 watt, you use the orange wire. If you're picking the 2 watt, you use the brown wire. If you're using the 1 watt, you pick the blue wire. The other 2 wires that you use, like here I picked the 5 watt tap, So the 2 watt and the 1 watt tap are not used. You can cut them off. You could shove you can't short those out because that will make the amp not work correctly. So I just recommend to tape them up or cut them off or whatever, it doesn't matter. Now as far as the speaker connection, the speaker wire colors out are yellow for speaker plus, typically is red, but we didn't want to combine that with the red already in the system because we'd confuse people, and then gray for speaker minus. Gray because, well, typically it's red and black, so we figured gray is close to black, but without being black. So as you can see, you come over here and the red positive is yellow, and I got the yellow tab pushed in, and the black wire, or the gray wire, goes into the black terminal on the speaker. And this is just the standard, this is the back side of our in-ceiling or in-wall speaker. I haven't tapped the back of the small satellite speaker, but as you can see, it's got the same kind of configuration as the other one, usually a red handle and a black handle. So that pretty much is the simple installation of this system. You just go through and basically set your speakers where you want them, install the taps. These little devices can easily sit on the back, sit down below. They can sit up on top of the speaker. It won't affect it any. It's basically wherever you want to set the amplifier that's convenient for your install. There is a hole that comes with it. So if you want, you can mount that on the wall next to the speaker. You can put a piece of double sticky foam tape on the back of it and stick it right to the back of the speaker magnet. It's really up to you. But that's basically the simple gist of how this whole system goes together. It's very simple. We design our hardware to be very simple. And over here is just a little strip offs. We do have our wires stripped so that you can very easily just pull a little piece of insulation off. It keeps the wires nicely bound together so that during shipping they don't get all frayed and then everybody has to ruin their thumbs trying to twist all these wires back together again. So if you have any questions, we do ship instructions, written instructions with the system. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am the owner. I do all the design work for the system. I'll be more than happy to answer your question during your install. So you can reach me at either, phone number is 602, that's 602-770-7152, or my email address, which I will also put in the video, is Eric, E-R-I-C, at SWMicrosystems, that's SWMicrosystems.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any question that you have, and I look forward to talk with you in the future. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.